Well, we've recently started to hear a lot about the microbiome, but what is it? Where is it? What does it do? And why should we look after it? Here to answer all of our questions, as per usual, is Dr. Frances Pitsilis. Good morning, Dr. Frances.
Hi, Carly.
I think this is the first time you've come to the home studio. It's nice to
Yes,
see you here.
I really like it here.
And you've had a few pats with Alfie. He's taken to you, you've taken to each other. That's lovely. So what is the microbiome and where is it? I'm thinking it's my gut.
Well, it is, a lot of it's in your gut, but it's all over. Now, years ago, when they did the human DNA project, they discovered that we had 10 times more bacterial DNA than human DNA.
What?
That's incredible. And so it's from there that we started realizing how important the microbiome is. These bacteria, viruses and primitive bacteria are all over our body and in our orifices, but the largest amount is in our gut. Now, the true definition of it is that it's a vast collection of symbiotic microorganisms in the human gastrointestinal system and their collective interacting genes. Now, it's not just the bugs, it's the genes that are in these bugs that interact with our genes, which is why it's so important. It's important for these bugs to be extremely diverse for our health. There's 100 trillion cells and 2 to 3 kilograms worth in your gut. So we've got these 10 million extra genes that we're being faced with.
Where do we get them from? Is it from our environment, or are we born with them, or is it a combination of all of those things?
Probably a combination, but the ideal way to start off life with them is through your mother's birth canal.
The passage, yes.
Yes, the hope is that most people have a vaginal birth, and that's the best way to do it. Otherwise, you get the microbiome of the people in the theatre, you know, and the equipment and everything if you're if you're having a cesarean section birth. And then as you go through life and you're a child, and then you get food introduced to you, and then it should be relatively settled as an adult. But what disrupts it is antibiotics, stress, the wrong food, etc.
So what does the microbiome do? Does it keep us healthy? Does it help our immune system? What does it do?
It can keep us healthy, but it can make us sick. So we know that it has huge potential to impact all of our physiology, influence any disease that you can think of, influences metabolic functions, your ability to lose weight. They can get rid of bad bugs, they can educate the immune system, and really do quite a lot.
So what is its specific role? Because you say it's everywhere in our body, but what is its specific role in our gut? Is it to keep the bacteria in our gut happy? And
well, it is. I mean, there are two main things that they do in the gut. They enable transporters of vitamin B12, which is really interesting, and that might be one of the mechanisms why, as people get older, they stop being able to absorb the B12 from their food.
And we need that for stress, right? Is B12 stress or
well,
vitality?
Yes, it helps.
Or
Energy, sleep, nerves, brain. Yep.
Good function.
Now, but the microbes there do fend off invaders, and they have a cooperative relationship with the other microbes. One would hope that most of your bugs are healthy bugs, and they end up forming a colony and a community and working together to transfer genes and help each other survive. But you don't want to have any bad bugs in there or bugs that you don't want there. And what's important is that your microbiome in your gut interacts with your immune system to tell your immune system the state of your environment.
Okay, so is it that communication between the groups of microbiomes that influences our overall health?
Yes. So what really happens is that you've got the biggest amount of your microbiome in your gut, and on the inside you've got the biggest amount, up to 85% of your whole immune system. Now, this very special arrangement is there for a reason. The immune system sends up cells to pick up bacteria, bring them down through the cell wall and present them to uncommitted T cells. Now, if you've got the wrong mix of bacteria in the outside world, it's going to be bringing those in, and the immune system's going to think, okay, no good out there, inflammation. Now, depending on how you're wired, you will get migraine, fatigue, an autoimmune disease, heart disease, dementia, etc. Any of these inflammatory diseases according to how you're wired, if it's not right in your environment. Now, all the conditions also include mental health, bowel diseases, fertility, and even autistic spectrum disorders.
Wow, so it controls so much of our day-to-day life.
It's the centre of your universe.
Right, so we need to look after it, and we'll get to that in a minute. But I just want to know a little bit more about leaky gut. Is that related?
Well, I thought I'd mention that because people hear about leaky gut, don't they? What we've just talked about is something called dysbiosis. That means disrupted gut flora. But what can also happen is that because the cell wall is only one cell thick, there are things like drugs and foods and stress that can disrupt the glue that holds that cell wall together. And then, of course, you've got this leakage of too many bacteria into the inner sanctum where your immune system is, and then of course it goes crazy.
See, that's not what I thought leaky gut was at all,
Yeah.
but that's a great description. Okay, so fundamentally, most important question of the day, how do we keep our microbiome healthy?
Yes, well look, I feel that it comes down to your food, your environment, and how you manage yourself. Sometimes you have to do a gut restoration to help you and include probiotics and sometimes some herbs. But really it comes back to all the lifestyle factors. I think everybody should mostly avoid gluten. Those people with allergy, eczema, asthma should avoid milk, yogurt and ice cream. If you've got any specific foods that upset you, then you should avoid those as well. Be aware that some drugs are going to cause leaky gut, including aspirin and anti-inflammatory drugs. So maybe you can discuss whether there's any alternative. Sometimes there isn't. Manage your stress. It's not a bad idea to consider taking probiotics periodically or all the time.
What probiotics do I take though? Because there's something for everything. Is there a
Yes,
broad
there is.
spectrum
There is.
probiotic that's going to work? Because they're quite expensive probiotics.
They can be.
Yeah.
If you're going to the shop, just take your regular probiotic that you're taking for when you take antibiotics. But if you think that you want to kill off some bad bugs, then take a probiotic called SB.
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 Okay.
That's short for Saccharomyces boulardii, and team that up with your normal probiotic and do that for perhaps 1 jar of each to do like a bit of a settling down. Now, if you want more advanced probiotic therapy, you need to see someone who's really into it.
Okay.
So
Yeah, that's wonderful. SB, I will remember that.
SB kills off bad bugs, including Candida.
Love it. And any final thoughts, Dr. Frances?
Look, I think it's now front page. It's now that we're becoming aware that your gut is the centre of the universe, and that's where your microbiome is, and it influences all of your health.
So look after it. Nice to see you. We'll see you next week.
Great, thank you.
And if you are concerned about anything we have discussed this morning, please contact your own healthcare professional.